A newly discovered piece of history has revealed a strong connection between Jerusalem and the Jewish people, dating back 2,700 years. What if an archaeological find could prove the Bible to be historically accurate? For centuries, scholars, skeptics, and believers have debated this very question. Is the Bible a true historical record, or just a collection of religious stories meant to inspire faith? Now, a 2,700-year-old inscription has been found in Jerusalem, dating back to the time of King Hezekiah. This discovery could be the oldest physical evidence confirming biblical events. If scholars' interpretations are correct, this could change our understanding of history, faith, archaeology, and the ancient world. Stay with us until the end of this video as we explore the significance of this incredible find. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because history is being uncovered before our eyes. History is full of kings, rulers, and conquerors, but few were both strong leaders and devoted men of faith. King Hezekiah of Judah was one of them. His story isn't just a biblical account, it's a historical drama filled with political tension, bold rebellion, and deep faith in divine intervention. But why is Hezekiah so important? What makes him stand out from other ancient kings? To understand his impact, we must look at his time period. He ruled during one of Judah's most dangerous times, when the powerful Assyrian Empire was expanding, conquering lands across the ancient Near East. By 722 BCE, Israel, Judah's northern neighbor and former ally, had already fallen to the Assyrians. Hezekiah knew Judah could be next. The Bible describes him as one of Judah's greatest kings, a leader whose strong faith in God set him apart from others. When he took the throne, Judah was religiously divided. Pagan influences had spread, idol worship was common, and many had abandoned the monotheistic traditions of their ancestors. The worship of Yahweh, once centralized, had turned into a chaotic mix of different beliefs. Hezekiah saw this not just as a religious issue but as a national crisis. In the ancient world, religion was more than faith, it was a key part of political identity and unity. A nation divided in its worship was weak and vulnerable. So, he took bold action. He tore down the high places, local shrines where idol worship was practiced. He destroyed the bronze serpent Nehushtan, which had become an object of worship rather than a symbol of God. Most importantly, he restored the Passover festival and invited not just the people of Judah but also the survivors from the fallen northern kingdom of Israel. This was an unprecedented move. By calling on the remnants of Israel to return to Jerusalem and celebrate Passover, Hezekiah wasn't just reviving religious traditions, he was trying to reunite the Hebrew people. Some scholars believe this was an early attempt to restore the unity of Israel and Judah, both spiritually and politically. However, his reforms were not without controversy. Centralizing worship in Jerusalem meant breaking long-held traditions in local villages, which many resisted. But Hezekiah remained firm, determined to bring his people back to true faith. The Bible highlights his unwavering trust in God. 2 Kings 18 verses 5-6 says, "He trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel. There was no one like him among all the kings of Judah, either before or after him. He held fast to the Lord and did not stop following him. He kept the Lord's commands." Hezekiah's deep faith and strong leadership set him apart in biblical and historical records. His story is one of courage, devotion, and determination to preserve his nation and his faith. The Bible describes King Hezekiah as a leader who resisted the powerful Assyrian Empire. Historical records from the Assyrians also mention Hezekiah, calling him a rebel against their king, Sennacherib. The Sennacherib prism, an ancient inscription, tells of the Assyrian campaign against Judah. It boasts that Sennacherib trapped Hezekiah, like a bird in a cage, inside Jerusalem. However, it never claims that Jerusalem was conquered, matching the Bible's account that God saved the city. This comparison shows that both the Bible and Assyrian records agree on one key fact: Jerusalem was never taken. The difference is that the Bible credits divine intervention, while the Assyrians simply record the outcome without mentioning supernatural events. This supports the historical accuracy of the Bible's account. At the time, the Assyrian Empire was the most powerful force in the ancient world. They had already conquered Israel's northern kingdom and now turned their attention to Judah. In 701 BC, King Sennacherib led a massive invasion, destroying over 40 fortified cities in Judah. Faced with an overwhelming enemy, Hezekiah had two choices: surrender or resist. Instead of giving in, he chose to fight back. He strengthened Jerusalem's defenses, encouraged his people, and most importantly, prayed to God for help. According to 2 Kings 19 verses 14 to 19, Hezekiah took Sennacherib's threats to the temple and prayed, "O Lord, the God of Israel, you alone are God over all the kingdoms of the earth. Give ear, Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, Lord, and see." Then, something incredible happened. 2 Kings 19 verse 35 records that an angel of the Lord struck down 185,000 Assyrian soldiers overnight. This forced Sennacherib to retreat to Nineveh and never attack Jerusalem again. The Assyrians never recorded this supernatural defeat, but historians suggest a plague or disease may have caused the sudden deaths in their camp. Even the Greek historian Herodotus mentions a mysterious plague that weakened Sennacherib's army, supporting this idea. Was this divine intervention, or just a fortunate disaster at the right moment? No matter the explanation, both biblical and secular sources confirm one thing: against all odds, Jerusalem remained unconquered. During this crisis, Hezekiah also made a crucial decision to protect Jerusalem's water supply. The powerful Assyrian army was known for its brutal sieges, cutting off cities from their resources. Hezekiah knew that without water, Jerusalem would fall. To ensure his people had a steady supply, he ordered the construction of an underground tunnel to bring water into the city. This was an incredible engineering achievement. The Siloam Tunnel, stretching about 1,750 feet, 533 meters through solid rock, was dug entirely by hand using primitive tools. Two teams started from opposite ends and successfully met in the middle, showing remarkable skill. The Bible mentions this achievement in 2 Kings 20 verse 20. As for the other events of Hezekiah's reign, all his achievements and how he made the pool and the tunnel by which he brought water into the city, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? This tunnel redirected water from the Gihon Spring, Jerusalem's main water source, to the pool of Siloam inside the city walls. This ensured that even under siege, the people of Jerusalem would have water to survive. During a siege, the residents could access fresh water while cutting off the enemy's supply. Some scholars argue that biblical figures like David and Solomon lack strong archaeological evidence. However, Hezekiah's tunnel is solid proof that at least parts of biblical history are based on real events. The tunnel matches biblical accounts, showing that Hezekiah was not just a myth but a real king who took action in times of crisis. That said, some critics question the tunnel's historical context. Could another ruler have built it? Could biblical writers have later credited Hezekiah for it? For nearly 3,000 years, a stone tablet lay buried in Jerusalem's ancient ruins. It contains what might be one of the most important inscriptions in biblical archaeology. Scholars have long searched for written evidence confirming the reign and actions of biblical figures. While artifacts like the Siloam inscription and Sennacherib's prism provide indirect evidence, no inscription had ever directly confirmed King Hezekiah's deeds, until now. This newly discovered inscription isn't just another relic. It directly mentions Hezekiah and the events described in the Bible. For centuries, people believed such proof would never be found and that Hezekiah's story was only a tradition passed down through faith. But now, for the first time, we may have undeniable physical evidence linking a biblical king's actions to a contemporary source. The road to this discovery was full of missed opportunities. In 1909, a French archaeologist working near Jerusalem found a large smooth stone at an ancient site. At first, it seemed like just a plain rock with no carvings or inscriptions. Without any apparent importance, it was catalogued and ignored. Back then, archaeologists lacked the technology to detect hidden text. As a result, the stone remained untouched for over a century. If researchers had known what was beneath the surface, history might have changed much sooner. Fast forward to 2022, when archaeology entered a new era. A team of Israeli archaeologists used advanced multispectral imaging to re-examine the stone. This technology, which captures light beyond human vision, has helped reveal faded texts on ancient artifacts, including the Dead Sea Scrolls. What they found shocked both scholars and religious communities. Beneath the seemingly blank surface, a faded inscription appeared, hidden for 2,700 years. As experts carefully analyzed the text, they began to uncover words carved by ancient scribes. The results were beyond anything they had imagined. In 2022, researchers analyzed another inscription that may directly credit Hezekiah with building the tunnel. If confirmed, this would further strengthen the link between biblical records and real-world archaeology. As they deciphered the newly revealed text, its significance became clear. The inscription confirmed three major biblical events recorded in 2 Kings, 2 Chronicles, and Isaiah. It explicitly mentioned Hezekiah, something never found on an artifact from his reign before. While the Salome inscription indirectly referenced Hezekiah's tunnel, this was the first discovery to connect his name directly to his works. The text describes how Hezekiah oversaw the construction of a water system, confirming the Bible's account in 2 Kings 20 verse 20. As for the other events of Hezekiah's reign, all his achievements and how he made the pool and the tunnel by which he brought water into the city, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? The tunnel wasn't just a defensive measure, it was proof of Hezekiah's vision and engineering skills. The inscription also details Hezekiah's battles against the Philistines, perfectly matching the biblical account in 2 Kings 18 verse 8. He struck down the Philistines as far as Gaza and its territory, from watchtower to fortified city. This confirms that Hezekiah not only resisted Assyria, but also expanded his influence and reclaimed territory from Judah's longtime enemies. The discovery of the Hezekiah inscription is a major breakthrough, confirming events described in the Bible. It closely matches the account in 2 Chronicles 31, which describes how Hezekiah led a campaign against idol worship. The Israelites destroyed altars, sacred stones, and Asherah poles across Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh, showing that his reforms were not just religious changes but a nationwide effort to restore the worship of Yahweh. What makes this discovery even more significant is that it is a first-hand account from Hezekiah's time, not a later retelling. This makes it the first direct archaeological evidence linking a biblical king's actions to an original historical source. Hezekiah's tunnel, one of his greatest engineering feats, is often compared to ancient water systems like Roman aqueducts and Egypt's irrigation channels. However, unlike the Romans, who built above-ground structures, Hezekiah's tunnel was dug deep into solid bedrock, making it harder for enemies to detect. This strategic method was similar to the Eupalinos tunnel in Greece, which was built centuries later using the same two-team excavation technique. For years, many historians and scholars dismissed the Bible as a spiritual text rather than a historical record. They believed that Hezekiah's reforms, military victories, and engineering projects were either exaggerated or completely fictional. The discovery of this inscription directly challenges that view, proving that at least some biblical events happened exactly as described. This raises a bigger question. If this part of the Bible is historically accurate, what else could be true? The inscription's details align with multiple biblical passages, reinforcing the credibility of the events it describes. 2 Kings 18-20 talks about Hezekiah's reign, his defiance of the Assyrians, Jerusalem's miraculous deliverance, and his engineering projects, including the construction of the Salome tunnel. 2 Chronicles 29-32 gives a more detailed account of his religious reforms, showing how he removed pagan altars, restored temple worship, and re-established Passover as a national celebration. Isaiah 36-39 describes the role of the prophet Isaiah, who advised Hezekiah during the Assyrian crisis. It recounts the invasion by Sennacherib, Hezekiah's desperate prayer, and the divine intervention that saved Jerusalem. The fact that these biblical records match an inscription from Hezekiah's own time suggests that they were not merely religious stories but real historical accounts. Unlike many ancient inscriptions that exaggerate a ruler's victories, this one presents a straightforward account that aligns with biblical history. Even skeptics who doubt the supernatural aspects of the Bible must acknowledge that its historical foundation remains strong. This discovery is not an isolated case. Many other archaeological finds continue to support the accuracy of biblical events. The Dead Sea Scrolls, found in the 1940s, prove that the Old Testament had been. Could biblical writers have later credited Hezekiah for it? For nearly 3,000 years, a stone tablet lay buried in Jerusalem's ancient ruins. It contains what might be one of the most important inscriptions in biblical archaeology. Scholars have long searched for written evidence confirming the reign and actions of biblical figures. While artifacts like the Siloam inscription and Sennacherib's prism provide indirect evidence, no inscription had ever directly confirmed King Hezekiah's deeds, until now. This newly discovered inscription isn't just another relic. It directly mentions Hezekiah and the events described in the Bible. For centuries, people believed such proof would never be found and that Hezekiah's story was only a tradition passed down through faith. But now, for the first time, we may have undeniable physical evidence linking a biblical king's actions to a contemporary source. The road to this discovery was full of missed opportunities. In 1909, a French archaeologist working near Jerusalem found a large smooth stone at an ancient site. At first, it seemed like just a plain rock with no carvings or inscriptions. Without any apparent importance, it was catalogued and ignored. Back then, archaeologists lacked the technology to detect hidden text. As a result, the stone remained untouched for over a century. If researchers had known what was beneath the surface, history might have changed much sooner. Fast forward to 2022, when archaeology entered a new era. A team of Israeli archaeologists used advanced multispectral imaging to re-examine the stone. This technology, which captures light beyond human vision, has helped reveal faded texts on ancient artifacts, including the Dead Sea Scrolls. What they found shocked both scholars and religious communities. Beneath the seemingly blank surface, a faded inscription appeared, hidden for 2,700 years. As experts carefully analyzed the text, they began to uncover words carved by ancient scribes. The results were beyond anything they had imagined. In 2022, researchers analyzed another inscription that may directly credit Hezekiah with building the tunnel. If confirmed, this would further strengthen the link between biblical records and real-world archaeology. As they deciphered the newly revealed text, its significance became clear. The inscription confirmed three major biblical events recorded in 2 Kings, 2 Chronicles, and Isaiah. It explicitly mentioned Hezekiah, something never found on an artifact from his reign before. While the Siloam inscription indirectly referenced Hezekiah's tunnel, this was the first discovery to connect his name directly to his works. The text is faithfully preserved for thousands of years. The Tel Dan stele, a 9th century BC inscription, confirmed that King David was a real historical figure, countering previous claims that he was only a biblical legend. The Sennacherib prism, an Assyrian record, describes the siege of Jerusalem, confirming that Hezekiah's city was never conquered, just as the Bible states. Uncovering an inscription is just the first step. To verify its authenticity, experts used multispectral imaging and other advanced scientific methods to rule out forgery or misinterpretation. This discovery is a powerful reminder that history is still revealing the truth of the Bible, one stone at a time. Archaeologists used multispectral imaging to reveal faded inscriptions on stone, making text visible after 2,700 years. This method has also helped recover hidden writings like the Dead Sea Scrolls. To date the Hezekiah inscription, scientists used carbon dating on nearby organic materials, as stone itself cannot be dated. The inscription's location matched other 8th century BC artifacts, confirming its authenticity. Experts analyzed the script style, comparing it to known inscriptions from Hezekiah's time, proving it wasn't a later forgery. This discovery strengthens the Bible's historical accuracy, challenging skeptics and reinforcing faith. It shows that biblical events are not just religious stories, but also historical records. The Hezekiah inscription directly links the king's achievements to biblical accounts, unlike artifacts that provide only indirect references. It opens the possibility of discovering more evidence of figures like Solomon or Moses. This finding bridges the gap between faith and archaeology, proving the Bible is not just theology but a record of real events. Archaeological discoveries are blurring the lines between faith and history. The 2,700-year-old Hezekiah inscription is a major breakthrough, providing direct evidence of King Hezekiah's achievements, his engineering projects, military victories, and religious reforms, all aligning with the Bible. This find challenges skeptics, strengthens faith, and raises the possibility that more biblical events could be historically confirmed. What was once thought to be legend now has physical proof. Could other biblical events be true? How does this impact your belief? The search for historical truth continues. If you found this fascinating, like, comment, and share. Subscribe to Mystic Revelations for more discoveries bridging history and faith. Stay tuned. Who knows what biblical secrets will be uncovered next?